Hey guys, it's Shannon, and if today I sound like a person who is talking with a fully busted up lip, that's because I sincerely am. The other day I had to go to the doctor's because I had a suspicious lump on my back, which you know is really lovely, and due to my intense agoraphobia and also my propensity to think the worst of the worst is always happening, I spent about an hour in the waiting room fully biting on my bottom lip so hard that I broke through skin multiple times over. The inside of my bottom lips looks like I took a weed whacker to it, and that's just my lot in life right now. That's just what I'm dealing with. Weirdly enough, every time I start a video now, it's like, what injury does Shannon have? Like a really fun game show, and that just feels appropriate for my channel. I love that for me. But today, we aren't going to be talking about me chewing my entire lip to smithereens because I had to deal with the fact that I might have a no-no lump forming under my skin. No. Today, we are going to talk about the fact that there is a new group of people utilizing Twitter, and they present a massive, massive problem. So much so, I had to contact the FBI. And those are AAMs, aka Adult Attracted Minors. So let's get into that. So, where to begin? Let's start at the root of all evil that has ever happened on Twitter, the complete human disasters who truly spelled out the beginning for the end, that being MAPs, aka Minor Attracted People, aka the people who want to rebrand predators into something more palatable, more nuanced, more comfortable, so people don't understand what they are talking about in normal conversations. For the past couple years now, Twitter has had a growing problem with people utilizing their website / app / eighth layer of hell in order to exploit minors in various ways. And because anyone, and I mean anyone, can have a social media, anyone has a social media, including the men and women who see children in inappropriate ways. However, as most people are aware, criminals, especially the ones who prey on children, are unfortunately incredibly smart people. They don't make themselves obvious to the group. They don't go out and say, hey, this is me, this is what I think. They don't simply put on their Terry Richardson glasses and skulk around in those weird beige windbreakers that scream, I think bad thoughts, like the guy in the Lovely Bones. They purposely make themselves look as normal and as nice as possible. That way, if they're accused of doing the worst of the worst, you think they couldn't possibly do that to a child. What are you talking about? He's such a nice guy. There's no way that is true. They're probably lying because he seems so nice. These people use their positions of power and privilege over others to hurt people and make it hard for others to believe that they could even do that. And they are incredibly smart people because they are constantly thinking about how to get away with the worst crime you could possibly commit. And that's why, with the advent of social media, there is a huge movement to rebrand the word predator into something a lot nicer. And that is why MAP became a thing. Before I go any further, I do want to make it clear why I personally use the word MAP in my videos, in my titles, and when I talk about these people. Because every time I do, there is a spirited debate in the comments sections about why that's bad and why it shouldn't be done, and how I'm normalizing it and I'm making a mockery out of what I'm saying and I'm supporting them in some way. I completely understand the vitriol and the comments, by the way, and I understand the point you are trying to make, but hear me out. You see, when someone identifies publicly as a MAP on social media, when they put that in their Instagram bio or their Twitter bio, they are doing it in order to find people like them, and to let people, in an incognito-esque way, say, hey, if you are a MAP, you are welcome here. They are doing this as a way to recognize other people and form a community, which is bad, because these people, if you get them in a community, do wicked things. But again, they are smart people. They use terms like MAP that seem innocent and other code words and emojis in order for people like you and like me, who normally would call them child predators and pedophiles, they use that so we don't notice them and don't think anything of them. When we click on a page where someone has MAP in their bio, we don't know it because we don't identify with it and we don't know what it stands for. It's a code word so people like this can operate in plain view without people noticing what they're up to. They're not going to say, I'm a predator, but they are going to say, I'm a MAP. It's like if I were to say all of my fans or everyone who watches this video should put 3 Z's in their bios on Instagram and Twitter. That way we can all find each other and make a huge group chat. The majority of people who don't watch my videos would see someone inevitably with that in their bio, and they would say, I don't know what that is. I assume this person is just sleepy. They wouldn't say that person is a fan of mine. So when you have someone saying, I'm a MAP publicly, most people aren't going to know what that is. So by me using the terms they're using to self-identify, I am informing the people who wouldn't otherwise know. My goal in talking about them using their language is to make sure they can't operate in plain view with people not knowing what they're doing. It is to make sure that when people see the word MAP or hashtag MAPPride in their timelines, they know what it means and they know that that person is sending up a calling card to say, this is what I think and believe. If you don't talk about them using the words they're using, that's fine on an individual basis, but my choice is to spread awareness around those terms. That way they can't operate in plain disgusting view online and can't spread. That is the last thing we want. Okay, I hope that clears it up for you guys. I know that there's a lot of comments that have attacked me in the past for using the term map instead of anything else, and people were like, you're money hungry. No, YouTube hardly monetizes any of my content anyway, so this is truly just to use the language for that reason. But back to it. Maps, oddly enough, really changed the game online when it came to online communities, because as far as I can recall, they were the first group to try to rebrand themselves to fit the Tumblr everyone is accepted niche, and they were the first to try and make the argument that, hey, just because we actively want to hurt children, that doesn't make us bad people. And from that action spawned a lot of other communities. And today we are going to be talking about one that is probably the most disturbing in my opinion, that being the adult attracted minors, aka the children on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram who are actively looking to engage with adult men and women because they state they're attracted to them. Which, let me be clear before I go any further, that is super normal. If you happen to be a minor and you're attracted to someone who is an adult, there is nothing wrong with you. You are normal, you are fine, it's not a sexual identity, it is literally normal. However, if you are acting on that impulse and that adult is responding, and they're making the choice to respond positively to you, that is not normal, that is not okay, and that is not fine. As a former child myself, I can tell you, I had crushes on plenty of men and women, fictional and real, who were all over 18 when I myself was not. Hell, one of my first crushes was Kylie Minogue when I was an entire child. I get it. You, as a minor, are going to be attracted to some adult in your life, and there is a reason for that. As children and teens, we are wired to mimic what we see on TV and what we see from the adults in our lives, like our parents and relatives and loved ones. If we watch any form of media with a teenager or adult relationship being shown to us, as an impressionable minor, our minds take that in as what we should be doing. And when you're a kid, all you want to do is grow up. So when you see a grown-up media featuring people in relationships, that's what you are attracted to and that's what you want to do. And because those are all shown to us as being the big thing that adults and teenagers do that has a whole demographic of like rom-coms and dramatics, like so much media is focused around love, that of course we are going to be attracted to that. And of course we are going to be attracted to the people in that being mostly adults. It's the exact reason as why when you're a freshman in high school and you see that weird skeezy guy who graduated 5 years ago who still hangs out in front of the high school and hits on everyone in your class, you feel kind of cool and good about yourself when he does give you attention. You feel flattered because he has a car and he seems so world weary. He's allowed to buy cigarettes. He's allowed to do things you can't. You think, wow, this man thinks I'm interesting and cool, because you're wired to think that this is the type of thing only mature adults do and that you are now being treated like a mature adult. And you want to be that with the responsibilities and whatnot. You think that instead of the reality that this guy is a burnout who peaked in high school who has literally nothing going on for himself. And it's the same thing online. Any adult looking to contact a minor are weird, creepy people who spend their time looking to talk to minors online when they could be doing anything else, living any other kind of life productively. When you are younger, being attracted to adults is normal, but vice versa is a whole other story. Which is why this trend of children identifying themselves on social media as being adult attracted minors, open to talking to literal predators sexually, and publicly announcing that is a huge, and I mean huge, issue. Because in self-identifying that you want these interactions as a child, you may not realize this because you're hormonal and you're going through changes in your body and you think you want this, but you are asking to be preyed upon. And while you can say, Shannon, isn't that consent? No, it's not, because these are literal kids whose brains aren't developed enough to consent and don't realize what they are doing is wrong. But it's not about the kids' actions. It's about the adults who are seeing this and making moves towards them. The kids will think, yeah, it's fine because I want to talk to this adult. I want to have this sexually charged conversation. So that makes it okay. But it's an adult's job to shut that shit down immediately. And frankly, as someone who had these discussions when I was a child, you won't realize that this is wrong and that was bad. You don't realize that for a while. You won't realize that when you were exploring this side of yourself and turning to the internet to do it, you were being preyed upon by people who knew that's what you were doing. In order to show the extent of the problem, I kind of went down a rabbit hole and I was going to collect some tweets that I was able to find. I didn't realize how truly disturbing these tweets were going to be and the rabbit hole I was going to go down. I reported them myself and I'm going to not share them on screen simply because they're a lot and I don't want anyone else to see it. And again, some of the tweets we're talking about are children trying to talk to adults in that manner. A lot of them had like ages, their sexualities, stating they were adult attracted minors, their kinks, and that they were looking for friends, and retweets were welcome, and that they were looking to talk to anyone over certain ages. So the same way Maps put age of attraction, that's what these minors were doing. And then in response to every single tweet that I was able to find with that tag on it of adult attracted minor, there was inevitably adults responding to them saying, hey, DM me, hey, DM me. They were photos of people publicly sending dick pics, and it was a lot. There was also a tweet from someone who responded to that, and when I went to their profile, one of their first pinned tweets was, I was groomed, now I'm a groomer, which really fucks me up because I don't know what kind of internet bullshit it is that someone is delighting in perpetuating the cycle of abuse, but that's not cool. That's not okay. I have so much sympathy for anyone who's been through that, who's been groomed, who's been abused, who has had that happen to them, but proudly declaring that you are now a groomer and you're looking to do that and perpetuating it by retweeting and replying to someone who is stating they are a child looking to have these conversations and being like, I'm proud of it. That's something else entirely. Again, I'm not an investigative journalist. I'm not a super crazy researcher. I went down a rabbit hole that was so small that the fact that I was able to find what I found publicly as easily as I did is so disheartening and so ridiculous that I actively sent a report to the FBI because images of children were being shown publicly that were not okay, and they were being shared, and I found multiple accounts stating that they share files announcing prices, and it's beyond a video. Like, this video is just something to tell you guys about the problem. The problem's so big and it's grown to such a point that I couldn't not report this. I had to report it to the fucking FBI. That literally just goes to show you how much of a problem there is with this community and how little Twitter does in terms of protecting people on their site and protecting children on their site. Like, kids should not be on Twitter. Twitter should not exist. I fucking hate Twitter. I reported some of these accounts multiple times over, and every time I got a shitty response and was told to block them. And then in checking now to see well, maybe they took some time to actually review it, some of these people who were doing these things, the reports were just like, we didn't find anything. And I'm like, it's not okay. This will never be okay. And if you want to debate me on why it's actually fine because you believe a child can consent, I honestly want to show you the door and the unsubscribe button, because that's not what we're doing here today. But with that being said, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I cannot personally wait for the barrage of people telling me that I'm being mean because of this, just because of when I talked about NSFW Twitter and how minors shouldn't be on there. I got a barrage of hate for that one, but you know what? At this point, I'm cool with that. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Do you agree that this is a problem and whatnot? But with that, I am out of here. Later days.